Hi everyone, today our team is going to demonstrate how timely and factual documentation can determine the outcome of an employment case. And we were going to use the fiction case of Priya Sharma and her original text solution. Before we dive into the presentation, let's have a quick recap. Then we will introduce the case. Our objective here is straightforward. First, we will explain how good documentation can convert an isolated events into provable patterns. Second, we will outline key legal consideration. Third, we will distinguish between first-hand observation from hearsay. And finally, we will share a practical playbook that you can apply immediately after this presentation. Now, let's have a case overview. Priya Sharma is a senior marketing analyst for 4 years with a strong performance at Horizon Tech. Over several months, her supervisor make a derogatory remark and exclude her from important meetings and project and publicly harass her during her team session. In March 2024, she files a formal written complaint, and within that complaint week, her performance rating drops, and she was removed from the high visibility project, and later receive a written warning for public disruption. On June 2024, she gives HR a therapist note and asks for accommodation, and the symptoms were related to workplace stress. Yet the request was denied, and legally these facts raise concern about the workplace harassment and potential reprisal after protected complaint and employers' duty to accommodate. What strengthens this case is the consistency across her incident log, email, calendar invoice, documents, and medical records. Now let's have an overview of the case incident timeline. Here's the timelines with the supporting evidence. From January to February 2024, the behavior escalate. Priya begins a dated incident log capturing what, who, when, where, and any other witnesses. On March 2024, she submitted a formal complaint to a HR. And this is supported by a complaint email and meeting notes. Later on March 2024, within the 2 weeks of the complaint, her performance rating drops. This is documented on the new review form and in her manager comments. In on May 2024, she was removed from a marquee project and reassigned to a low impact task. And this can be seen from the transfer emails and the update task list to confirm these changes. On June 2024, she gives a therapist letter tied to her symptoms to a workplace stress and HR deny for the accommodation. Both documents are retained, and on June 2024, she received a written warning and files a follow-up complaint referring to the ongoing patterns, and each step aligns with the logs, emails, calendar entries, and documents, strengthens the credibility and limits the reliance on the hearsay. This shows the importance of the documentation that can be used as the evidence. Now that we have seen what has happened in this case, Honey is gonna take over and explain you what was the impact on the employees. Over to you, Honey.
Thanks, Dia. Now I'll discuss the impact on the employee. In Priya's case, we can see three clear areas of harm: emotional, professional, and physical. Emotionally, repeated public belittling caused anxiety, isolation, and loss of confidence. The things that made everyday work overwhelming for Priya. Professionally, sudden negative reviews and removal from high profile projects significantly damaged her career growth and reputation. And physically, Priya began therapy in April 2024, and her therapist recommended a reduction in duties, a request that employer did not accommodate. Together, these consequences show a clear link between workplace conduct and concrete harm. Now, moving to the next slide, documentation strategy overview. The effective documentation turns those harm into credible evidence. The goal is simple: create a chronological, factual record that connects incidents, witnesses, and outcomes. Important elements to include are the date and time of each event, the exact words used when possible, copies of email and messages, and contemporary notes summarizing meetings or conversations. Keep original records in a secure location and maintain digital backups. A clean chronological log reduces ambiguity and makes the account easier for human resource and legal counsel to assess. Another slide is applying the 5 W's: answer, who, when, what, where, and why for every entry. So, uh, who was involved or present has to be identified. What happened, including direct quotes when available. Another is when it occurred with date and time specific, and where it took place or whether it was virtual or physical. And last one is why it happened if the context is known. Using the simple template for every incident makes the record forensic, reliable, and far easier for counsel or HR to access. Now, on another slide, we'll see how to avoid hearsay. Document only what you personally observed or heard. If someone else reports an incident, ask them to provide a signed statement and record it as a witness account rather than an unsourced rumor. Always note exact quotes, the source, and the date. Signed and dated witness statements convert secondhand information into admissible evidence, which is important in every case. In short, document objectively, preserve evidence, and get first hand witness statements. Those three steps turn messy memory into solid proof. Now I'll pass this to Kusum to cover the legal analysis and final recommendations. Over to you, Kusum.
Thank you, Hanu. Now I'm going to discuss with you technology for evidence preservation. When we document workplace incident, it's not enough to just write them down. We must keep that evidence safe. Emails, cloud backup, protect important messages and attachments. Encrypted device, like password protected USBs, keep keep all the files safe and secure. Screenshot with timestamps, metadata show exactly when something happened. Version control keep the original file unchanged while saving edits separately. So these steps make sure our evidence stay authentic and court ready. So next is sample documentation. Here is an example of recording an incident on March 3rd, 2024, Priya's supervisor questioned her competency in a team meeting in the boardroom with two witnesses present. And the evidence include meeting notes, witness email, and including the date, time, event details, location, witnesses, and proof creates a clear and reliable report. And then the next part is legal analysis. From legal perspective, Priya Sharma's document is strong. It shows repeated harassment connected her complaint, retaliation, and is supported by medical records and witness statements. Such consistencies make it harder for an employer to deny the fact. This was all about legal analysis, and now I'm going to discuss with you hearsay rules and exceptions. So this hearsay rule means out of the court statements are usually not accepted as evidence, but there are some exceptions like business record, party admissions, spontaneous utterance, and these are some exceptional cases. Like Business record created a normal course of work. Second, party admission when there are other side makers settlement statements. And the third one, tennis utterance made in heat of the moment. And so this knowing this all ensure our documents can be used in a legal proceeding. So that's all about from my side. And now I'm going to ask Shubham to discuss next part. So thank you.
Thank you, Kusum. So, when documenting workplace issues, there are clear benefits and risks to it. So, here are the benefits that we have feel are more clear and chronological records that can show patterns of misconduct, support legal claims and settlement talks, and build credibility by engaging witness corporations. The risk to that size are poor storage can lead to the loss or tampering of records. Over documentations may appear bias and breach of confidentiality can cause legal or reputational harm. The key is to keep the records factual, secure, and private. Even the best documentations loses its value if it's not handled ethically, which is why our next focus is on the principles that keep records credential and professional. So, when documenting workplace issues, ethics matters just as much as accuracy. Our four principles guide this process. The first one is fairness. Record facts objectively without any exaggerations or bias. Instead of saying the supervisor was being a bully, note exactly what was said or done. The next one is confidentiality. Protect sensitive employee and company informations by storing records securely and limited access. The third one, no retaliations. So documentations is for accuracy and legal protections, not for targeting or intimating someone or one of your colleagues. The last one is integrity. Only record incidents you witness or have verified with credible signed statements so that these principles strengthen credibility as well as build trust, which is vital if the matter reaches your HR, mediation, or court. By following them, we can make sure our records are both admissible and respected. Now, let's see how much ethical, well documented evidence can be presented effectively in a courtroom setting. So, let's imagine Priya's documentation in action. Her lawyer present incident logs, emails, and performance review to show a clear timeline of harassments followed by a retaliation. Witnesses' statements confirm key events, reducing reliance on hearsay, while medical records link workplace stress directly to these incidents. So, all these evidence does two things. First, it establishes Priya's credibility through consistent, corroborated sources, and it boosts her chances of a favorable settlement or a court ruling. The second one, it proves that ethical, thorough documentations can be the turning point in achieving justice. And that level of effectiveness isn't just accidental, it comes from following consistent best practices. Let's look at the recommendations that make the workplace document both credible and impactful. So, to make the documents effective, follow the five key steps. First, record incidents immediately using the five W's to capture detailed accuracy. Second, preserve evidence in its original form. Third, store files securely with encryptions and backups. Fourth one, seek witnesses' corroborations to strengthen your credibility. And finally, review all the logs regularly so to ensure completeness and accuracy. All these practices turning the workplace record into reliable legal tools. So, to complete and conclude our presentation, this case reinforces that detailed timelines and factual documentation is not just a good practice, but it is also essential in employment law disputes. By consistently applying the 5 Ws, securing and preserving evidence, and avoiding hearsay, we strengthen the admissibility and credibility of our records. These records, when maintained ethically and securely, not only reveal patterns that support legal arguments, but also protect the integrity and privacy of all the parties involved. So, in Priya's case, this disciplined document strategy turned her experience from unsubstantial claims into strong, legal, defensible evidence. So, that was all from our slide. We hope that you have some learning today. Thank you.